Welcome, everyone. Today I'm going to do a case study for you of a recent deal that we just completed. This was last month, so about a month old since we got the check on this deal, but I figured it's been a while since we've done one, so let's go through it. So you see the house right here. Here is the check that was our net profit. You can see right there it was for $33,000. The total recovery on this was over six figures, over 100 grand. So this was a very large recovery. This was not your typical deal. I would consider this a home run deal for sure. And it was also an estate case, meaning the homeowner had passed away. There were three heirs on this case, so we had to recover for three heirs. But at the end of the day, it worked out. We were able to recover the full amount of overage. Our clients were able to get a very nice payday, and we were as well. This was a partner deal, so my partner got over $15,000 net profit on this deal as well, without having to pay any attorneys, without having to deal with paperwork, anything like that. So they did find the original heir, well, the first heir. So we got in touch with one, and then that one heir was able to get us in touch with the other two. Did not have to go through a probate on this. So that was that helped save some costs. One thing that's this was a mortgage overage. Forgot to mention that. So this was a foreclosure that happened because the homeowner had passed away, and when somebody passes away, it's very hard for them to pay their mortgage payment. Okay, so that's how this deal came about. Very common. If I was to estimate, I'd say probably a third of overage deals are caused by death, someone passing away. So either the homeowner themselves, or it could also be like a spouse or something like that, and then the other spouse decides to leave the property. I've seen that happen. So death is a very common occurrence of property going to foreclosure or tax sale. Okay, it's unfortunate, and oftentimes because of that, the heirs do not know of the property going to auction, or they do know, but they don't realize that there are funds available for them. Okay. What else can I say about this deal? This deal did take a long time to pay out. It was close to a year before we got this check. So now, why did it take so long? Surprisingly enough, there was actually a will in this case. Most of our cases we're dealing with we don't deal with wills, meaning the person didn't have one. They died intestate. That's what intestate means, is when you die without a will. If you die with a will, you die testate. Okay. However, the will that the heirs did have had not been probated. It had not been validated by a court. Okay. And so ultimately, the trustee who was holding the funds, they would not abide by the will. They wanted to just abide by what is called intestate statutes, meaning when you pass away and if you don't have a will, there are laws in place that say how your assets should be distributed. So that's what they wanted to do. The will actually was very clear in that it left one of the heirs pretty much everything, but the trustee would not adhere to the will, and they wanted to split everything equally, which the heirs were, surprisingly enough, some of the heirs were actually upset by that. They were like, hey, we don't want this money. It should go to our brother, as the will says. But ultimately, we had to send them a check, and then if they send the rest to their brother, then they can do that. So that's one of the. I will say this: one of the, how do I put this, frustrations of working mortgage overages is when the funds are not held in the court system. When the funds are being held by the trustees basically make up their own rules and say, hey, this is what we want to do. And that's basically what they're going to do. It can be very frustrating, as well as, they don't really adhere to any timelines, which is another reason why this deal took so long, is the trustee was going back and forth. They didn't want to disperse according to the will. And it took a long time because they just dragged their feet. And that's not unique to just trustees, but when you're working with trustees, you have very little control. When the money's with the court system, at least there are some rules in place. In some states, there are timelines that you have to abide by as well. There's deadlines, and you can always request that the court make a decision. There are things that you can do to help speed up the process. But at the end of the day, guys, on a typical deal, you're still going to be around 4 months, 3 to 4 months minimum before you get a check. If it's an estate case, plan on at least 6 months. Okay. This, like I've said before, this business is not quick money. You need to have patience, and you need to be able to not depend on this as your sole source of income, unless you have some sort of backup or savings or things of that nature. Okay. Obviously, you know my story. I quit my job as a corrections officer to go into this full time, but I did have some savings, and that floated us for the first 5 to 6 months when I didn't see a single check. Okay. So I don't recommend people quit their job cold turkey. Do this, start out part-time, do some deals, get some experience under your belt, and then you can transition if you want. Or most of my students just do this on a part-time basis. They have great jobs, or they have other businesses that are doing well, and they just use this to supplement their income. This is just a extra income source to them, which is awesome. I think that is great. A lot of my most successful folks incorporate their families into the business, whether it's their children or their spouse, and I think that's awesome as well. Okay. So yeah, a little bit of a case study for you of one of our most recent deals. Again, like I said, this was a partner deal, and I'll say it again, I said this before, but my program is the only program that will partner with you on estate deals. If you're currently looking at overage cases, you're probably seeing that some of your cases, the homeowner has passed away, and you may not know what to do with those cases. So if you come across that, again, we will partner with you on those up to about 3 or 4 heirs. And they have to be first degree heirs, meaning the heirs have to be the spouse, the child, a sibling, or a parent of the deceased homeowner. I don't recommend dealing with, grandchildren, or what I call second generation heirs, grandchildren, nieces, nephews, cousins, aunts, uncles. I would not recommend going into that realm. It gets very complicated very fast. So be wary of those types of cases is what I'm telling you. Yeah, that's pretty much it, guys. It is always fun to kind of see what happens to the house after it gets sold. So just to wrap up here, I'll share some pictures with you. And guys, if you want to get started, if you want to be able to partner with me on deals like this, there's a link down below. Check out school.overagecourse.com. And who knows, perhaps I can send you a check for over $15,000 like I did with this joint venture partner. Okay. All right. And that wraps up for today. Should probably see on your screen now. Here's some pictures of the aftermath. So obviously a rehabber purchased this property at the auction, and I think they did a pretty good job. It's a nice kitchen they did a rehab on. Looks good. I don't know what it looked like before. But it looks good to me. It's like a very nice house. New paint, new carpet. Nice living room, big windows. Very cool. This is actually looking out into the front yard. There's a front door right there. Looks like it's kind of a split level. Back porch into the backyard. Very nice. Very nice bathroom. So yeah, sometimes I'll go through, obviously we probably, in most cases, we never see these properties unless we go on to Google. That's one good thing about the business is, we don't have to physically visit properties because we're not buying properties. We're just helping folks recover funds from property that is sold at auction. So everything can be done virtually. If you have an internet connection and a computer, then you can do this business pretty much from anywhere. In fact, I just had another deal where my partner doesn't even live in the country. Okay, they live outside of the States. I sent them a payment, from a deal that we just completed. I should probably do a case study on that. And yeah, they do everything from overseas. So another benefit of partnering as well, and another benefit of this business is if you've got an internet connection, you can do this business anywhere. So cool stuff. All right, guys. I hope you enjoyed that case study. Again, if you want to get started in this business, if you want to partner with me, or you don't have to partner with me, you can learn the entire business inside the course, and you can do deals on your own, keep 100% of the profit by doing 100% of the work. Totally fine. Check out school.overagecourse.com. Talk to you later. Thanks, guys.